Okay, here we are. We're on the right side too.
I flipped us before we even started.
We were just talking about shows, and if you all know any good shows out there, we need to hear it.
Yeah, because it's so frustrating. When all this COVID stuff started, it was like I had not really been doing any streaming. So I wasn't even thinking, I have my shows that I would record every week, but really got into streaming. And so you wanted shows that had more than one season so that you could really get into it. Now I'm frustrated because they're all one season shows.
I know. And it's like, you just need something that you can sit and watch for a long time. But
I know.
Anyway.
So what you guys have? If you have any streaming ideas or any shows that you're watching.
Yeah, we want to hear it because we want something that we can watch for a while.
Dig in. We can really dig in. Well, exactly. Cindy and Roxy, how are you guys doing this morning?
Good morning. All right, let's jump right in. So we're talking about websites today, and I'm really excited about this topic because I think whenever we think about what we're gonna share, it's really what we come across the most. And I'll tell you, we come across this situation of, hey, I need a website. Should I just do it myself with those template sites that I see online, or should I do a custom built website? Is there any difference between the two? I mean, does it matter? Which is better? So we're going to break it all down because, spoiler alert, there are some key differences that you may not realize until you're right smack in the middle of it. So let's get started.
All right, let's get rolling here. Welcome to Marketing Mix, everybody. Every week we try to bring you different kinds of segments and highlights of everything digital marketing. The mix comes in because we like to mix it up. We may have some interviews, some tips, trends, Q&As. Today we're going to kind of do a comparison for you on websites. So let's look at our broadcast first, Sarah, so people know what we're doing.
Yes, as always, we go live every week on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and you can catch the replay on Instagram and LinkedIn. And don't forget about our podcast, Marketing and Mike. And we are always getting more subscribers, and it's just so exciting. And also, don't forget about our YouTube channel, Fusion One Marketing. The purpose of that is it's really just a resource for businesses to turn to kind of get to know a little bit about digital marketing and how it can help. So, good stuff.
Really good stuff.
So we got a cool topic, and I'm really excited about it just because this is one I feel like is going to help business owners a lot, and it might help them avoid some obstacles, some unforeseen obstacles. So, we're going to really dig deep onto what you get with a do-it-yourself website template, and then what you get with a custom built website, and then also what you don't get with each. So they all kind of offer a little something. And it's really important to kind of make that distinguishment and apply it to, hey, what does my business need? So before we jump into it, do you feel like business owners should ask themselves some key questions first before they pick which one they want to go with?
Yeah, I mean, with everything, there's always a lot of things to think about and see how it applies to your business. First things I would start with is basically how much information needs to be on your website.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've established we all need a website. We've talked about it time after time after time. You still need that first impression. You need a website to be legitimate in people's eyes. So think about how much stuff do you need to have on your website? Do you need multiple pages? How many services and products do you offer? Do you need a page for every one of those? Because when we're pricing these things out, that's where the price increases on custom websites. Mm-hmm. Budgets, again, you have to think, especially if you're brand new business, we don't always have budgets up front. So are you better off being able to pay something up front, something that you can own, or do you need to do a more month-to-month payment to make it more practical for your budget? And again, extra time. How much time do you have? Do you need a website right now, or is it something you can sink a little bit of time into? And then this is a biggie. How tech savvy are you? And unfortunately, people think that they can do these websites and they think, I'm pretty techie. I'll get in there and just do it myself, no problem. But then they get hung up. So really give that some thought. And then, do you want something that's like a one-of-a-kind website, or do you not really care? You just need a website thrown up, something just to represent your business. So it's a lot to think about. And those are things that we can help people kind of wade through if they need it. So, yeah.
Those are really important questions to ask, I think. So, all right, let's jump right in. And we want to talk about first what you are going to get with a do-it-yourself template. First and foremost, what are you going to get? Shorter development time. Why? Well, because you're working off of a template. So when you work off of a template, you can get your site up and running rather quickly. And that might be a really good advantage for a startup business or somebody who really needs to get things going fast. And, the construction time, there's not a lot of moving parts. So because of that, you can get up and running, because it's really sort of like a plug and play where, once you got everything set up, boom, you're ready to go. So that can be, like I said, a huge advantage for some business owners who are like, I don't have a lot of time. I got to get this going. What can I do?
Yeah, exactly. And let's look over here in our comment area. Cindy says Yellowstone. We're going back to talking about streaming and
favorite shows about Yellowstone.
You never watched that one?
No.
Oh,
so I need to.
I mean, one word, Kevin Costner.
I know.
I think that's the guy that's on
Gold.
I guess that's 2 words. But
he's like one of those timeless people that I'm like, God, Lord, don't lose your looks.
It's like, I mean, you could just watch it for that. And I'm like you, Cindy, please, I'm waiting for the next season. Again, that's what we're talking about. But anyway, we digress. Again, if you're tuning in, we're looking for new shows to watch. So throw those in the comments. Also, if you are tuning in, please comment so that we know. Want to say good morning to Brenda Blanton. Good morning, and Miss Gay Chambers. Glad to see you guys this morning. All right, back to what you get with a DIY template. All right. They are less expensive. Okay. That's a plus. Let me turn my mic down just a little bit. Sounds like I'm reverbing here. All right. They're less expensive. So with less development, it just makes sense. It comes with a lower budget. So you can also have lower upfront costs.
Yeah.
And since you're spreading it over all of that time, may be able to fit in your budget a little bit better, and you're paying a little bit each month, not such a big chunk. Usually you can make changes yourself, so that's going to save you money. If you have a custom site, you're not going to be able to get in there and just do anything that you want to. And professional agencies, if they've built your website, they're obviously going to need to charge you for doing those ongoing adjustments. But let's talk about this. It is less expensive, but this is a biggie. You're going to be paying that monthly fee forever.
And a lot of people don't realize that, right?
I know.
They think like, oh, well, I mean, this is so cheap up front. And then it's like, yeah, but you're paying every single month.
Yes.
Forever.
Forever.
Till the end of time.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's so important, to kind of know that. And, so do you want to get that subscription-based setup? But yeah. Okay. Let me talk about this third thing. Oh, did I cut you off, Glenn?
No, I'm just laughing. I'm laughing at Gay Chambers.
What'd she say?
And if you haven't watched Yellowstone, Beth Dutton, who is the daughter, she is a rough cut now, and she will go off on you. She's like, don't make me go all Beth Dutton on you. That's hilarious.
I gotta watch this show
Oh,
now.
you need to start it this weekend. Anyway, go right ahead. Sorry
We
about
had,
that.
what- I had friends that were that couple for Halloween, and I was like, I don't get it. And they're like, what?
Who are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
God. Oh boy. Okay, so this is the third point we want to make, which is what you get with the template site is no coding experience needed. Now, what do we mean by that? There is a learning curve. So if you don't have a little bit of knowledge with a website template and all that, it might take some downtime, to figure that all out and how it all works. But essentially, how these templates work is it's like a drag and drop, where you're going to take your photos, take your text, take whatever it is, and drop it into these template builders. So that's pretty easy to use.
Mhm.
Are you getting static? I'm going to mute you to see if I sound better. Actually, I just want to have the floor. So
Just throw me off the stage.
yeah. Actually, let me just kick you up. So that's kind of nice, right? That you just have to have the text and the photos and you just drop it all in. You got this template. So it's pretty easy to kind of build up the features. And as you mentioned before, if you want to make changes, you could just go in there and update your pictures and update your text. So it's fairly easy to use. And I say fairly because you are going to have to know a little bit of what you're doing. And a lot of these website templates now come with some built-in features like hosting and all that. So really, you don't have to be a coding wizard to get it up and running. But I think there's a caveat to that.
Yes, I'm unmuting myself. I'm loving this. Cindy's like, yep, Beth Dutton is a piece of work. Gay Chambers, I can't see that in you. All right. We're really making you want to watch it
so
now.
it would be like there's going to be a Beth Dutton in every group.
Oh, yeah. You just can't even imagine. Anyway, tune in and let me know. All right. Yeah. So all of these things are great. And this is some positives that you get with a DIY template. But we have special notes. And we always like special notes to kind of throw in, it is all of that, but it can be difficult to take your template and move it to another platform if you need to. Normally, if you have your template, it has its purpose. And I know people who have done template websites and they look fantastic and they've done a great job and it served the purpose that they needed to. But you're not going to be able to move it to a different platform. And like we talked a minute ago, you're going to have to stay with them usually forever and ever and ever. And this is a biggie. If you bought your domain from them and set it up with a template type website place or platform, you might not own that domain name. So again, special notes, things to be careful of, because if you built your whole business around blah, blah, blah.com, you can't take it with you, then that's not a good thing. So just things to think about.
That's a big one. Again, they probably don't realize. I mean, when you go with these templates, like you are at the mercy of them. So as long as you don't get to keep your website is basically what that means. You don't get to keep it. If you want to go elsewhere and once you have it built, guess what? They keep your domain name, which means that website name that you have, you might lose. And then on top of that, you're going to might have to rebuild it all over again. And that's something you don't think about.
Speaking from a team trying to rebuild a website right now, that's a big taking on.
It really is, isn't it? And it's like when they come to you and they're like, help, fix it. I can't get these things to work. Or can you go back? Can you go in the back and change all this stuff? And it's like a whole different beast, and it's hard. But anyways.
Yeah. Well, and different companies specialize sometimes in different types of websites, So just because it's a website doesn't mean that we know how to work on every type of website there is. We stick with our platform that we know for our specific reasons. So yeah, it's so frustrating. I feel so bad for people that have just sunk all this time into something and it just won't work and I can't help them. But anyway.
Well, that leads us to a couple of these don'ts, which is what you don't get with a template site custom design. So here's the thing with the design of most of these templates, what you see is what you get. So you can change the colors and you can maybe change the fonts and but the layout itself is pretty much set in stone. So if you love that layout and design and have no desire to change it, that'll work for you. But just keep in mind that they do have a lot of standard templates. So your website might look exactly like somebody else's so-and-so's and somebody else so-and-so. So it's going to have a very generic look. So again, keep that in mind. If you're looking at it and you're like, well, I want to move this here and I want to move that there, you won't necessarily have that option with a template.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's where we get into not just design, but customization.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you want a lot of bells and whistles, it's not going to work for you usually in a template.
Mm-hmm.
I think you and I talked about the template companies make these templates to do specific things. For instance, they may have a template that's really good for photographers. They may have a template that's really good for roofers because they have, in their mind, the limitations of what each industry needs in a website. So it's very, very hard to customize it. So as Sarah said, if you want it to do cartwheels and have a lot of bells and whistles, a template is not that great for you. You're really giving up a lot of flexibility if you are sticking with a template versus a customized website.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like if that template has features and you want to maybe do away with them, you not necessarily can. And so you almost have to fill space that you maybe not need, and that can kind of bog down your website.
Yeah, and always people are like, I want to put a photo gallery on here, or I want to be able to have people buy things on this website. Can you help me put that on there? And if the template is not made for those specific things, they may not have that option to put it on the website. So again, you're really bound within the walls of the template.
So true. Okay, here's the last thing we want to touch on with the do-it-yourself template site: ongoing support. So when you're working with a template, one thing that you want to keep in mind is that you're not going to have access, like direct access to the person that has built your website. So you can't kind of call them up, ask them specific questions or make specific requests. You're really limited to that. So it's going to have, and again, we talked about this before, when you have those customizations, you might be working on your site and say, I got these pieces on here I don't really need. How do I take them off? That layout is that layout. So you got to make it work, and you're not necessarily going to they have supports. I don't want to say that they don't have support, but you don't have that direct support from that person that has built it, who can make those changes quick. And that could be really important, because then you'll feel like, well, I'm trying to call somebody and I can't get anywhere with this, and I'm on my own. And that goes into your time, which your time is a valuable thing.
Oh my gosh. And we run into this all the time. I feel so bad for people, because time is just as important a lot of times as what the cost is. Because time is money. You hear that all the time. And we ran into somebody just recently. They were on their second website that they were trying to build. The first one wouldn't do what they wanted, and now this one is, ugh, that's all I can say. When I looked at it, it's like, oh my gosh, we can't fix it.
It is, and they're bogged down by it again, and we hate it. And sometimes, we get it. They're like, I can't do that upfront cost, so I'm just going to do this monthly thing. But then at the end of the day, they ended up spending more trying to redo these templates. So anyways.
Yeah. And I will say, like I said a few minutes ago, I have seen people really pull it off because they only needed specific things for their company, and the template offered that, and they put it up, looks beautiful. So it's not that you can't pull it off, but obviously we prefer custom websites because that's what we do. So let's go and move on to what you get with a custom built website. Now, I think the biggest thing is, I tell people all the time, it's we don't have templates. We're able to code the website, and what that means is make it look exactly the way you want it to. It's really cool. Somebody can even say, hey, I like this website. I want it to look exactly like this. And our guys are so good, they're able to produce whatever you want. So there's rarely any limitations. I knock on wood, doing this for 10 years, I don't think I've run into anything that we weren't able to produce for a customer. So you're able to show your culture, your personality, and all of the things that you need with your custom design. And you get all the functionality that you need for your specific needs. So it is a win-win as far as customization and design. And that's the fun part, because we can make a pretty website for sure.
Yes, exactly. So this is another thing, and I wanted to add to this what you get the custom website: scalability, flexibility, and manageability. And what do we mean by that? Your custom website is always expandable. So if you have a new idea, or you want to put in a new gallery, or you have something else that you want to add to your website, your web developer, the web designer can make it happen. When you have a custom built website, custom features can be added very easily, a lot easier than a template site. And so that's really nice to make you feel like your website's not stuck in a box, where you can continue to add to it, which is so huge, because that kind of adds to the longevity of your website. You'll get a lot of use from it, and because there's really no limitations. So that's really, really huge.
Yeah, longevity, that's a really key thing to bring up, because if you have a templated website, sometimes they aren't supported after a certain amount of time. So then little things start to happen, little tweaks start to happen, and it's like, oh my gosh, this thing is falling apart. So anyway, that's... Yeah. The longevity is very, very important.
And having that customization, I think, is huge, of being able to have it function and do what you need it to do.
Yeah, exactly. All right, SEO. Yeah,
I knew your eyes would start twinkling.
That's why you put me on this part.
I did.
Okay, a lot of templates, almost all the templates, hardly any of them have the functionality to do SEO the way it's supposed to be done. Even, I hate to even say GoDaddy, even they're templated. You'd think that they would have that availability, but they just don't. So if you're trying to rank or trying to increase your business through SEO, a template is definitely not the way to go, because it can't be optimized for what you need it for. So if you go to a custom website and you have a great developer, you have that functionality that's kind of built into the back end, and we can optimize that website to give you the best chance to rank, but also increase your business. So SEO, again, it depends on what you want from your website. If you just need something to throw up there and be a legitimate business, may not be that important to you. But if you want to actually get business from your website, you need to be able to have SEO and be able to optimize it.
And if you're a business owner and you don't know about SEO, so you're not going to think to ask or know about it, and that's a real key thing with these templates, is that you're not going to have that SEO. You're not going to have really that up-to-date code in SEO that's going to help you get found online, because it's one thing to have a pretty website, but if it's not optimized for search engines to be able to find it and think it's a relevant site and match it to your online users, it's a biggie.
That's a huge one. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so one more thing that you get with a custom website, and there's more than one, but we're trying to condense it today. Let's be honest. You get that ongoing support. This is so huge to me too, because you encounter this all the time. I want to make this change. I want to do this. So you don't have to do anything from scratch. Templates have those limitations. So with these custom sites, if you want to add location pages, if you want to add service pages, whatever you want to do, they can help it. If there's security, all that stuff is there. They're there to monitor it and make sure it's running the way it should. So having that ongoing support, and really that ongoing support comes like you don't even know what's happening, but they're on top of it, making sure that your website is operating at peak performance all the time.
Yeah, and it's really cool because we use WordPress. We talk about that all the time and for a number of reasons, but it's also what we call kind of an open platform. So you can start with what you need today. So, and then add on. I tell people that all the time. This doesn't, Rob calls it the wedding. You know how you plan for a wedding, you think it has to be perfect and have every single thing in it all at once at the beginning, but you really don't. Just start with the pages that you need. And again, we can customize those and then we can add on as you go. Do you need a shopping cart? We can add that on later. You need a photo gallery? We can add that on. So those are other things that when you have the support from a great company and a great platform, then you're not holed into some of those limitations.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. All right. What we don't get. So there are a couple things you don't get with a custom website.
There are a couple down, but yeah, there are a couple down things. It's kind of like, you know, when you're excited about something and then somebody tells you it's going to take 4 weeks, that's kind of a bummer, but you kind of have to weigh it out with what you actually get. So yeah, custom websites can take just a little bit longer, but it kind of makes sense. We need to really make sure that we are, you know, putting it together exactly like you want it. We normally can get a website up in 4 weeks. We could do it in less time than that, but we're really a lot of times waiting on content. So it may not necessarily be us building it, but we're waiting on content. But 4 weeks gives us the best chance to make sure it's perfect, get the content on there, optimize it, those kind of things. So yeah, it's not exactly the best quick turnaround time if that's what you're looking for, but it'll be great for you in the future because of all the things that we mentioned. You know, it's an open platform. You can manage it easier. Oh, blah, blah, blah. All the stuff we already mentioned.
It's endless. So there's another thing that you don't get with a custom website, and that's a lower cost. There's a reason for that. You're building a site according to your specifications, and it's all customized to your business. So with that, with customization and having all these bells and whistles, it is going to be a little bit more pricey and it's going to take a little bit more time. Now, that being said, we do offer some templates. So we do offer some of those, and I say templates very loosely, but we do have a way that's a in between. It'll give you those customization features. So that is an option. But when you have a custom site, it is going to have a little bit of a price point to it. Now, that being said, there is a but to this. One of the great things is that it's a one and done. Once you pay for it, that's it. That's what's very different about these template sites. The template sites, maybe it's a low upfront cost, and that might be like your eyes are shining. That's so exciting, but you're paying every single month for the life of that website. So you've got to think about that, and you could end up very easily paying more than what it would be for just a custom website. The big difference is, you know, you pay the prices up front, but it's done. You know, and once you get it, it's done.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's yours forever. You can make changes. We do a lot of, we've built websites for people and they just want to change the look of it or the color of it. And those are things that we can do. So that initial investment is worth it and will last a lot longer. I want to say good morning to Gail Mason. She says, good morning, just hire the professional Fusion one.
That's all we needed to say today, Gail. We should just said that and then close out the show.
Yeah, then we don't have to go through all this. And Steve Johnson joining us this morning. Good morning. Love seeing all you guys this morning. All righty. So we've talked about most of the things I think we wanted to cover, but we want to just do a final take on the value again, kind of reiterate the value of custom built websites, because obviously that's the lane that we're in. So let's think about your ROI again, return on investment. If you need to drive people excuse me, I've got the coffee throat today. If you want to drive people to your website, you're going to want a custom website because it gives you the best chance of people finding you. Has the functionality, design, and security that you need. It's all built in. All of those things are great. You can scale them. We've mentioned that about 15 times, I feel like. You can scale them as you go, and it can grow with your business. So you don't ever have to worry about that you have an old stale website or that you have things that you want to add that you can't add. So it can adapt to the changes of online practices too. Like we talked about the SEO and all of that. So your return on investment really pays off in the end.
Yeah, it sure does. Another thing you need to think about with a custom built website is the longevity of it. So a well-built website, you're going to get a good 5 years out of that. You can get more, but we always kind of recommend there comes a point where you do want to kind of make some refresh your website a little bit. But your well-built site is going to give you about 5 years, while a template that has limitations to it, it might need to be redesigned within like 2 years or less. So you got to think about those things. And a site that's effective and it does all the things that you want it to, just like you said, it's going to give you double the return on investment because it is built to be a fully functioning website beyond just looking pretty. It's got all that back end stuff that you need just as much.
Yeah, exactly. And again, we'll mention SEO, throw it back in there one more time. If you're going to be on the internet, you may as well try to optimize it for search engine optimization and actually be able to drive customers to it. I mean, if you can, I think obviously everybody needs more business.
Yeah, everybody needs more business.
Yeah, if that's something you need, then again, that's why you would want a custom website. So
yeah. So let's just recap real quick. Okay. So what you're going to get with a do-it-yourself template, here's the pros: shorter development time, less expensive, and you don't need coding experience. You don't need to be a coding wizard to get it up. What you don't get with a template site: custom design. You don't get customization, all these different features. The layout is the layout. You also don't get that ongoing support. So if there's changes or there's things coming up or different hiccups, those things can't get resolved right away. So you've got that limited support. Yeah. Let's talk about a custom website. What you do get, you get a unique design that matches your brand voice, and everything about your business. You get that scalability, that functionality, that security, and all that stuff with a custom website, which gives you better longevity. Another big thing that you get with a custom website, SEO. Oh my goodness, you need to have that on your site. I can't say that enough. That is how your business gets seen, how your website gets seen online. What you also get with a custom website is ongoing support. Whatever changes you need to make can be done right away, and they are staying on top of your website to make sure it's fully functioning. Also, here's what you don't get with a custom website: quick turnaround time. It's going to take time. You want something customized, it's going to be a 3 to 4 week process. And what you also don't get is that lower price point. But again, as we've explained, there is upfront costs, but there's no month-to-month cost. With a template, you get that month-to-month cost that a lot of people don't get. And like you said, it's your own. A custom website's your own. That is your domain. You own it. It's yours. With templates, you do not get that. Once you leave them, you lose that site. And that can be scary.
Yep, most of the time, and we run into that all the time. So anyway, hopefully you guys think that was helpful. I do want to mention, because we are celebrating our 10th year in business, right now we have a special going on with our websites. We're offering 10% off for anybody who needs a website between now and the end of February. I realize if you're listening to this at a later time, that doesn't apply. But for those of you who are watching or listening, we have a couple weeks here. So if you want to jump on that opportunity, that would be awesome. And I think that's all we have for you this morning. Really appreciate everybody tuning in, all our early risers over here. And once again, we'll be back next Friday for the next Marketing Mix segment at 8 o'clock. And until then, we hope you have a great week.
Bye.